Yeah, you can see her.
And I walk around
What are we doing?
Canyon, you're my person today. Can you run to the printer for me and grab, I printed a new big question. Grab that from the printer. It'll look just like the other one.
What other ones?
The other one's coming out.
It's
right here.
Hello. Oh, you're recording now. I don't really see.
I'm gonna have the star of the show.
No, boo.
You wish.
The witch. Burn the witch. Burn the witch. Burn the witch.
Alright, we are on lesson 5.
Burn. What are they? Huh? Mexico. They're in Mexico. She's almost at peace.
No big deal, I think he's trying.
She's almost at peace.
Okay, I need everyone's attention in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and done. Okay, we are on lesson 5. Myths are easy for me to say. Myths of the Maya. That's like a tongue twister. Myths of the Maya. Okay, our learning goals. What are our learning goals? I can explain the purpose of ancient Maya myths. I can summarize the successful creation of the world according to the Maya. And I can identify and paraphrase key information in the text to use in my Codex project. You guys remember we talked about the Codex project? It was great. We went over the rubric. We kind of picked a category. I think it was like agriculture, architecture, social class maybe. Okay, we're going to go over the vocabulary before we read the chapter because I think that's really important. So when we come to those words, we go, oh, I know what that means. So I want you to open in your workbook to 5.1. So 5.1 in your workbook. I will also ask you to get a highlighter out, please. 5.1 highlighter.
You said 5.1.
Okay, I'm gonna do like 5 seconds to get there. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and done.
Because when I was sitting at that table, I lost my like.
If you need to grab another one, there's more over here. Here you go. You know. Alright. Is everyone say your vocab words? What's the first word at the top of that list all together, class?
Generation.
Generation. Why is there the number in parentheses? Ask Jim.
Because
What does that mean?
it's the page.
It's the page the word is on, right? The first time you see the word generation is going to be on page 24. Okay, so a generation is a noun. It is a group of people born and living at the same time. So why don't you highlight born and living at the same time? Okay, I'm going to say the word. You're going to repeat the word. Sacred.
Sacred.
Sacred is an adjective. It means holy or deserving respect. Thank you for repeating that, but you didn't mean to. Why don't you highlight the whole thing on that one? Holy or deserving respect. It's a short one.
Holy one.
Okay, creation.
Creation.
Oh my goodness, you can do better than that. You guys all sound like you're half asleep. Creation.
Creation.
Creation is a noun, the act of making something new. Why don't you highlight new? Vast.
Vast.
Vast is an adjective. Adjective, large or great in size, amount or extent. Let's highlight, let's highlight large or great in size. Nurture.
Nurture.
Nurture is a verb. To care for something or someone so that it, he, or she flourishes. Let's highlight to care for. To nurture. Kind of like a baby has to be nurtured, right? Babies can't take care of themselves.
Good.
Rigid.
Rigid.
Rigid is an adjective, stiff and inflexible. Why don't you highlight the whole thing on that one? Rigid, stiff and inflexible. Warp. Hey, we're still here right now. Warp. Warp is a verb. It is to bend or twist out of shape. Why don't you highlight bend? Warp. I think of like a piece of wood when you get it wet and it kind of like warps.
Piece of
It's
wood.
not really good then. You need it more rigid.
If you got the
Or
onion,
stiff.
if you don't got the
Yeah, like a piece of wood. If it gets wet sometimes it can warp. Is that all the vocab words? I wanted to do like 10 more.
Oh, that sounds good. Really good. Yeah, can we do? Yeah. Some more. It has to.
No, not today. I'll save some other words for next time.
It has to. If you don't got the onion.
Alright, I want you to open up to chapter 4 in your little reader. If you do not have a little reader, please go grab one. Highlighters can get put away. Open in chapter 4. To find it, you can go to the table of contents. Look for chapter 4. If you find the page number, raise your hand.
You got the onion.
No, but what page is it on? What number?
24.
Page 24. Oh, I bet you will see the word generation on that page.
No. No.
You
Yaman.
might.
There's also some eighth grade.
You got the onion. There's also the onion. If you don't got the onion, you got the
Oh, lots of words.
onion. 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 If you don't got the onion, you don't get the onion. All these things.
Alright, so what is the big question? Cooper, what's the big question? Oh, Cooper, I'm going to stop you really quick. I hear some other noises and talking. We gotta be listening. Go ahead, Cooper. So how does the sacred land myth explain the creation of the earth and its people? Good job, thank you, Cooper. So we're going to learn about myths of the Maya. What is myth? Brooklyn, what's a myth? Keep going, you're doing good. Someone told you off. Kind of like a lie, so it's like a story, right? Is it factual? Is it true? Is it factual? Is it true, Leah? A myth? Yes or no?
Could be. Could be. Could be. Could be.
If it's a myth, it's usually like a fabricated, like a story. It's not true. It's just a myth.
So I'm
So in this, we're going to learn about the creation of the earth. Now, you might have a different idea of how the earth became created. This is talking about the Mayans and what they believe is the creation of the earth. No, I'm not saying, hey, this is the way, this is true. But this is what the Mayans believe. So as we go through, just remember, this is what the Mayans believe is the creation of the earth. Got something to add?
yeah.
No? Okay. All right, we found our page. We're on 24. We read the big question. Let's read it again. How does the sacred Maya myth explain the creation of the earth and its people? Let's connect. Okay, again, I need everyone's heads up, following along in your little readers. Here we go. Page 24. We're starting at thousands of years ago.
Chapter 4. Myths of the Maya. The big question. How does the sacred Maya myth explain the creation of the earth and its people? Thousands of years ago, people all around the world began telling stories to help explain how and why things happen. Some things, like the rising and setting of the sun, are predictable. Others, like floods and earthquakes, are often unpredictable. People created stories to make sense of both predictable and unpredictable events. Storytellers passed these symbolic stories, or myths, along from one generation to the next.
Did you guys hear that?
Yeah.
It said a symbolic story or a myth. So a myth would be a symbolic story, and they pass it along from one generation to the next. Kind of reminds me when we learned about the word saga, passed down from generation to generation.
So I guess it just like
The creation of the earth and its people. Some of the best known Maya myths are recorded in the Popol Vuh, or Sacred Book of the Maya. Even though the original book was destroyed, some people knew the stories by heart. They told and retold the stories through the ages. In the mid-1500s, these Maya wrote the stories down for future generations. Today, you will read a retelling of combined creation myths taken from the Popol Vuh, the creation of the earth and the creation of the men of corn. In the beginning of time, all was still and motionless. There was only sea and sky. It was hard to tell where the sea ended and the sky began.
Okay, I'm going to pause really quick. So we talked about a myth, right? That it was a story passed down from generation to generation. How does the picture on page 24, how does that picture help us determine the word generation? I want you to look at that picture. How does it help us determine the word generation, Nova? Yes, we've got a man here, and he's talking to all these kids. Like you said, we don't know how they're related to him, but he's sharing what he knows and telling them, so that when they grow up, they can do what? They can tell their story, or the same story, to the next generation, and then keep that cycle going. Kind of like if you guys ever had a grandparent maybe tell you a story from your family. Say if you haven't, maybe you could talk to your grandparents and say, hey, can you share some things with me about when you were a kid, or maybe something that your grandma taught you? It's kind of cool to have those conversations. So we kind of talked about what is happening here then. In this picture, what is happening? He's telling them, the younger kids, to keep in generation to generation, what is he telling them, do you think? Liam?
story.
Liam, what's he telling them?
The story.
Yeah, the stories are the myths, right? Okay, we're going to keep going. I'm going to start by reading where I paused it. So I'm going to get all the way up to darkness. So I'm going to read there where it says in the beginning. Everyone put your finger on that. In the beginning. Okay, here we go. In the beginning of time, all was still and motionless. There was only sea and sky. It was hard to tell where the sea ended and the sky began. And we continue and hit play.
Darkness filled the vast emptiness. There was no earth. There were no mountains or streams. There were no animals or people. The God of the heavens asked the gods Tepu and Kukumats to help create a middle ground between sea and sky. They agreed. Together, the three became known as the creators and makers.
Okay, so looking at that picture, what does that picture show? True. Here, question.
The earth. Or like how they made it. Or their house it looks like that.
Okay. Give me a little more detail. What do you see in this picture? Just on this page.
Weird giant white and red things that kind of look like clouds. It does. Really, bro. It does, okay? I know.
So what from the first paragraph though kind of shows us what we're looking at? Reread that first paragraph. Reread that first paragraph. What does it show us that we're looking at?
Wait, which one?
24.
Only the
Paisley.
like where like there was only sea and sky. It was hard to tell where the sea ended and the sky began. So it's like
So there was only sea and sky. It's hard to tell where the sea ended and the sky began. What were we going to say, Paisley?
that was what
Okay.
it was
So yeah, so like the sea kind of flows into the sky. Have you guys ever seen that? Have you ever seen it on TV or in real life or in a picture? Or the ocean, you like look out, you can't see the end, and you just see like blue and then the blue sky. Just kind of looks like it goes forever, yeah? You have to take a picture and show us. Maybe, you never know. So they're saying just the sea and the sky. Move on, page 26.
Tepu and Kukumats thought hard about what to create and how to create it. Finally, they came up with a plan. Dressed in brilliant green and blue feathers, they shouted out the word Earth. In an instant, Earth appeared. Part of the sea dried up and became land. Mountains rose up with valleys between their peaks. Then the gods added fresh water. Lakes pooled in the foothills of the mountains. Rivers flowed from one end of the land to the other. Trees and plants sprang up along the riverbanks. Though beautiful, earth remained silent. It was too quiet. Tepu and Kukumats decided to add noisemakers. Suddenly, animals of every description filled the land. Jaguars and pumas crouched in the jungle. Deer and antelope roamed the plains. Snakes slithered along the ground. Eagles and turkey vultures perched high in the trees. The animals screeching and roaring broke the silence. The gods were pleased. Praise us for creating you, the gods begged of the animals. The animals just squawked, chattered, and howled in reply. Of what use are they? Tepu and Kukumats asked. The gods wanted creatures to respect and honor them, to praise them, and to make sacrifices to them. Because the animals were unable to do these things, the gods declared a new purpose for animals. animals would be food for people in the future. The next task was to create the people who would eat the animals.
Okay, we're gonna stop there, talk about some things. So what does it mean that the animals were screeching and roaring? Their screeching and roaring broke the silence. What does that mean? Their screeching and roaring broke the silence. Nova. Right, so the once quiet jungle now kind of erupted with noise, with the screeching and roaring from the animals. Okay, why do you think the author chose to use the idiom broke the silence instead of just saying, hey, the animals screech and roar? Why do you think he chose to say they broke the silence, Paisley?
Because because it was really quiet, and then they all like appeared and then made a bunch of noise.
Yeah, broke the silence kind of gives me that image in my head of it just being like super, super quiet. And then suddenly, boom, crash, all these loud noises, right? Kind of like when you're just sitting there and there's like nothing, and then like they have those like cymbals, and you just go, and it scares you, so it's like, broke the silence. Oh, what?
That first paragraph was fake.
Scare me and probably
I'm sitting on my room.
Okay, so that enriches the description. Say enriches. I got about half of you. Say enriches.
Say enriches.
Enriches the description. Gives it more. It broke the silence. Okay, what did the gods refer to the animals? Or why did the gods refer to the animals and say, of what use are they? Why did he say that, Cooper? Right, do you remember when he said they could only squawk, chatter, and howl? They wanted creatures that could, what?
praise and honor them. Talk.
Respect, honor, praise, and make sacrifices. Very good, Trooper and Maya. They wanted those creatures, so who did they need to create? Yeah. So how did they solve the problem? What did they use animals for, Ashton?
Food.
They used them for food. All right, we're gonna go to page 27. Here we go.
First, Tepehu and Cucumatz made people from clay. The gods were pleased with how they looked. The clay people were unable to move. They could not lift their arms or bend their legs to walk. When the sun shone down upon them, the clay people became soft and began to drip in the heat. When it rained, mud rolled off their gooey fingers. Their mouths became mushy, and it was difficult to understand their speech. They could not communicate and had no feelings. The gods decided to destroy these imperfect people. Next,
Why did they call them imperfect people? Trooper, why did they call them imperfect people?
Because they cannot express like communication.
Good. Yep. Could they move, Cooper? Could they talk, Fulton? No. They couldn't talk. They couldn't move. They became soft and melted under the hot sun. And then they couldn't communicate, and they had no feelings. Was your dad?
Oh, so if they were real, they would destroy all of us because everyone's imperfect. So they destroy all of us. And how do we know all this?
All right, moving on.
Tepehu and Cucumatz fashioned people out of wood. Surely, wooden people would be much sturdier than clay. They could honor and nurture the gods as the gods wished. At first, the wooden people seemed fine. They looked like humans and talked like humans, and they began to have children. Their sons and daughters spread out into the mountains and valleys. But these rigid people did not develop well physically. Their wooden bodies began to warp. Without flesh and blood, the people were uncoordinated. Worst of all, they could not think. Without any memory of their creation, they made no effort to honor the gods with gifts of thanks. What good, the gods wondered, are these non-thinkers who wander aimlessly about the earth? Tipu and Cucumatz decided that these wooden people too must be destroyed.
Okay, so now why did they think the wooden people were imperfect? Ashton.
Because they got no gift to thanks, and that's why no blood and no brain.
Okay, yep, they couldn't think, so they could not praise or honor the gods. What else? Tripper.
Their bodies began to warp.
Yep, they were rigid and did not develop well physically, and then their bodies began to warp. When we talked about that word, I talked about like a piece of wood, like the 2x4, if you leave it out in the rain, it's gonna warp a little. So these wooden people, their bodies warped. They were uncoordinated, and they couldn't move as smoothly as maybe they once could before.
Stuff in their head. Why aren't people almost wondering where they
Good question. What do you think it is? What do you think it might be?
They look like Mom, how do they know?
Seaweed maybe? Alright, moving on to page 28. Okay, 28, here we go.
The gods unleashed boiling rains and mighty floodwaters to drown the wooden people. They turned everything else on earth against the wooden people, including their tools, tortilla griddles, and grinding stones. Cooking pots and water jugs rose up to attack them. When they tried to escape, roofs and tree branches collapsed on them. Animals threw them out of caves. With no place to hide, the wooden people were soon defeated. It is said that a few did survive and that they live in the trees today. These creatures, called monkeys, resemble the people who were the first to walk on earth. Neither clay nor wooden people served the gods as they intended. So, Tipu and Cucumatz put their heads together once more. It was important to get it right on their third attempt. They asked some of the Earth's animals for their help. A wildcat, a coyote, a parrot, and a crow searched for the perfect place for humans to live. The animals found a beautiful setting with lots of fruits and seeds. There, they also discovered an abundance of spectacular yellow and white corn. The animals brought the corn back to Tipu and Cucumatz.
Okay, so it says Tipu and Cucumatz put their heads together. Colton, what does that mean? They put their heads together.
She blew this and then, they were thinking like the same.
They need to like think together. They have a meeting of the minds. They put their heads together to come up with a solution, right? Let's come up with a new idea. What was their solution?
For the animals to help them. But the animals can help.
Okay, so why was it important though that they came up with a solution? Let me rephrase my question. Why was it important that they come up with a solution? What had happened before?
They didn't get warned. And they can help.
Yeah, it didn't work out the way they hoped, right? They thought we had these great ideas. And then they're like, oh, maybe that wasn't such a great idea. These people are warping. Clay people are melting. Neither of them have brains to think, to honor, and worship us like we want. So we need to figure this out. We're gonna have a third attempt. Third time's the charm, right? Think they're gonna get it?
Wait, where was this? When the wooden people were created? I'm gonna go to the place and I'm not gonna find any. Wait, but who knew that?
It's an ancient myth. Okay, so according to the Maya creation myth, how did monkeys come to exist? Cooper, how did monkeys come to exist? So a few of the wooden people, they escaped, right?
Some of them survived. Some of them survived.
They escaped from the animals and tools and they chose to live where?
Like a monkey.
In the trees.
Wait, so why are wooden? Why are monkeys? Yeah, that's my question. Is making all wooden? I know. And how do we know?
Could be evolution. It's a myth, right? It's not going to be all facts. We're not going to have all the answers. It's a story.
I bet you someone just yeah.
All right, we're on page 29. Everyone point to page 29. You're about 29. Here we go. I want to see everyone pointing to it, and then we'll move on. Maya's pointing to it. Amy's pointing to it. Nova's pointing to it. Page 29. There we go.
Tipu and Kukumas decided to create humans from this new food crop. So it was that the first men of corn came to be. Their flesh was made from corn kernels. The grain was ground with water to shape the arms and legs of 4 men. They fed these men with the same plentiful crop of which they were made. These corn men seemed powerful indeed. They could hold on to things, move easily, and show feelings for one another. They could think, hear, speak, and see. In fact, their vision far surpassed that of the gods. They could see far into the distant heavens and deep into the ocean's depths. The cornmen praised the gods and thanked them for their remarkable gifts. Tipu and Kukumatsu's third attempt at creating people was a success. Finally, these earthly creatures were grateful to their makers.
All right, so third time, what's the charm? They made people out of what, Liam? They made people out of corn. Why do you think, Paisley, why do you think they used corn?
Because like corn was
Oh,
like,
Paisley's talking right now. Why do you think they used corn?
corn was a crop and it was like harder, and they were thinking to use like something they had on earth, so then they like put it together and then like they made like a dough with like the corn and the water to make like their arms and
So, did the Mayans, did they have a lot of corn?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a plentiful crop. They had lots of it. It was plentiful. So they decided, we're going to use this crop that's so important to us, and we're going to create people out of that. And because it was so plentiful, could they just do like a few people? Or could they do a lot of people? They could do a lot of people, right? Because they didn't just have like, I have like 5 ears of corn. We can make 5 people. No, they had tons. It's a plentiful amount. Okay, I'm going to draw a stick. I'm going to draw a stick. No, I'm going to draw a stick and I want someone to read about the jaguar for us. Or Maddie. Maddie's not here. Canyon. Okay, so what words does a narrator, this person who wrote the story, what words does a narrator use in the myth to show that the cornmen were powerful like the jaguar as the gods intended? What words does he use? Kennedy. What words does he use in the myth to show that the corn men were powerful, like the jaguars God's intended? Look at that second paragraph. Right here, what does he say? These corn men seem powerful indeed. Yeah, keep going, nice and loud. What else? Good, so they can hold on to things, they can move easily. Think of like a jaguar. Maybe kind of creeping on its prey. And they could show feelings for one another. That was one thing that was important to them, right? Was having feelings, being able to think, communicate. Right, boys? You with me? Okay, they also, their vision far surpassed that of the gods. So they thought, they were better than what they thought they could make. Okay, we're moving on to page 30.
Oh, it's just all boys.
The back row is all boys and the front row is all girls. That's funny how that worked out today.
But all was not well.
Oh, was everyone ready? Going to see you on page 30. Follow along. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Oh. The cornmen's sight was so good that the gods became jealous of them. The gods did not want to share supernatural powers with earthly beings. They wanted to make sure that gods remained more powerful than men on earth. So, the gods decided to cloud the cornmen's vision. They threw a mist over the cornmen's eyes. Now, the cornmen would only see things nearby. By blocking their distance vision, the gods destroyed some of the cornmen's wisdom and knowledge. When the cornmen awoke the next day, they found corn women lying beside them. The gods had given them each a wife. Together with their wives, the corn people multiplied. In time, there were many nations of people. Some were light-skinned, others were dark. The people formed different classes and spoke many different languages. These multicultural people spread out across the land and filled every corner of it with praise for the gods. Tepu and Kukumats thought back on their creation of earth. They thought about the clay people. They thought about the wooden people. They thought about the corn people. On their third try, they had succeeded. They had created a world of thinking people who were grateful for their lives. The God of the heavens was pleased too. Now, millions of creatures respected and honored the gods, praising them and making sacrifices to them.
So with that God back there, did he just build a white farm?
They just said they woke up and then there were corn women, right? Each of them then had a wife. Okay, so what did he do to their eyes again? Kennedy, what did he do? What did the gods do to their eyes? Okay, so they had super good vision, right? And the gods were like, okay, I'm jealous of their vision. I wish my vision was that good. So I'm going to do something. Can't have you better than me. What'd they do? They blew, is that what you're going to say? I knew it was right there. They blew a mist over their eyes, right?
They
Clouded their vision. So now they couldn't see things as far, right? They could see things more as close. kind of think of like our vision. Especially if I don't have my glasses on, then it's not very good. Alright, so what words, looking at that third paragraph, this one right here, what words does the narrator use to suggest that the gods were pleased with their third attempt at creating people? Brooklyn. What words did the narrator use to show they were pleased with their third attempt at creating people? Everyone else should be looking at that third paragraph too. Okay, find what words did the narrator use to show they were pleased? Good, yep, so they created people who were grateful for their lives, right? They were grateful for their lives, and then the God in heaven was pleased too, because millions of people respected and honored the gods, praising them and making sacrifices to them. Whereas the wooden people and the clay people were not able to do that. Okay, so I want you to I want you to think about this. What is a Maya creation myth? What is a Maya creation myth? I want you to talk with a partner. Trooper, go ahead and join those boys right there. We're going to be talking about this stuff. What is a Maya creation myth? I'm going to give you guys a minute to talk. And then I'm going to draw a stick. And then if I draw your stick, I want you guys to answer as a group or a partnership and stand up and answer, okay? What is a Maya creation myth? Go.
A Maya creation myth also about like
Okay. I'll call it Maya creation
I said
myth.
zombies. As far as zombies,
Okay, about 10 more seconds. What is a Maya creation myth?
it is also supposedly and then created
Okay, I'm hopeful that that's going to be quicker next time. That one took a little while. Paisley, you guys can stand up as a group and answer, what is a Maya creation myth?
Like, I don't believe how, like, they, like, make some clay and, like, wood.
Okay. This is more asking, what is it? First of all, what's a myth and what is a Maya creation myth? What is a myth?
Like, something that's, like, a lie that's being told over and over passing down from generation to
Good,
generation.
I was looking for that. Something, a story that's being passed down from generation to generation. The Maya creation, what's that part? That's how they think the,
World was created.
yes, so a Maya creation myth would be a story that's passed down from generation to generation, where Maya cultures explain how and why things happen. I need everyone up in their seats, please. Alright, sit back down, good, thank you. Okay, according to the Maya myth, in the beginning there was only sea and sky. How was the earth created? You might have to look back in your books In the beginning, there was only sea and sky. How was the earth created? Look back in your books, discuss it, and then I'm going to call on someone. So this time I'm going to clap and I'm going to say go. You ready? Go. Yeah, go. Let's do it again. Go.
Okay.
All right, talk about it.
Wait, what are we talking about?
In the beginning, there was only sea and sky. How was the earth created? Class, class, class. Okay, I need everyone paying attention because I said it twice up there. And I still had people asking. It wasn't just you guys. What was the question? So I need everyone's eyes on me. In the beginning, there was only sea and sky. According to the Maya myth, how was the earth created? Look back in your books if you need. How was the earth created? Okay? Yes, from the myth. We're not talking your experiences, from the Maya myth. Go.
Okay. And then it was too quiet, so they added animals. And then the animals were crazy and how they wanted to, so they had to create humans for like a punishment. And then they created a full with clay and wood, and then they created
Okay, about 10 more seconds.
And the only reason they make it for it is because all the other ones, they melted and died. So it's not important to them.
Much better, good job. Okay, according to the Maya myth, in the beginning, there was only sea and earth. Sea and sky, sorry. How was the earth created? Paisley. Then you guys can stand up and share together. How was the earth created?
So they said that the gods created made spread the water and made land, and then they had mountains that raised, and then the rivers flowed, and it was too quiet, so they added animals, and the animals weren't crazy on how they wanted, so that.
Okay, stop you right there. You're doing great. What word did they shout? 5th grade. What word did they shout? Earth. They said earth. And then those things that Paisley told us. Yeah, the sea dried up, it became land, rivers, mountains, and trees, and plants started showing up. All right, put that down, please.
Are we done sharing?
Yep, we're done sharing. Great job, good job. Okay, next one. Last one. How were people made? How were people made? Go. Okay.
Clay melted.
Wood was made because they wanted people to worship them,
And then they were made out of
so
wood.
when they first tried to make people, they were clay, and it actually
They melted in the sun. Then they created people from corn. So then people and corn people.
and then they sent animals to get rid of the arrow for them. They found some liquid, and that's how we were made.
I think that's
And they
it.
have
I'm
that
a
in
like I'm a man right now. And then there's a one question. They turned into I think no and then now.
past generations.
Okay. I had to put that one a little bit short, but I think we got it.
My question's after. I got this.
How, oh, I don't have everyone's attention. How were people made? Cooper, your group can stand up. How were people made?
Yeah, because they just said there's a fake explanation because they just
Okay, hold on. Let me give you a chance them to start over. We gotta get our PE shoes on. So, how were people made?
By the gods by the gods is the teacher.
What they make first, Trooper?
The clay people because they taught us in their mind.
Okay, they make clay people. Colton, who they make next? They made wooden people. Then they made corn people. Are they happy with the corn people?
Corn chicks. Wait, for a little while. That's why I corn chicks. That's why I got pasta.
All right. That is all the time we have today. Hold on, don't move yet. I would like boys to please put away their reading materials and get their PE shoes. Quietly in the hall, please. Okay, girls, please start putting away reading materials and get your PE shoes.